What's going on, Internet? Iron Jordan here. So today I have brought to you one of my favorite decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! A blast from the past, Burning Abyss. Now, what's Burning Abyss, you might ask? Well, if you've been around Yu-Gi-Oh! For a while, you don't need me to tell you, but if you're kind of new to the channel, if you're kind of new to the game, Burning Abyss is an archetype that got introduced in 2014 along with Shadal's and Duelist Alliance. They kind of ran the meta back then. They got a bunch of cards limited, a bunch of cards banned. As you can see, Beatrice is actually still limited. That's mostly because she's a generically good Foolish Burial target. But yeah, no, this deck is really good. It's stuck around for so long. It's 7 years old and can still compete in this meta. Now, here's the thing. Why am I bringing you this profile in particular? Well, firstly, I've been playing a lot of BA recently. And secondly, they got a new support card in number F0 Utopic Future Dragon, which I believe is called Utopic Draco Future in the TCG. I actually have a physical copy of it right here with me. Shout outs to my buddy Austin for hooking me up on the release weekend of Kingsport. So that card has helped this deck out a lot, especially going second. And so I think it's made this deck even more of a powerhouse and put it squarely in tier 2, maybe tier 1.5 contention. Before we get into the deck proper, I need to shout out Meta Monster Gaming, our sponsor of the channel. They actually just updated their TCG Player website. They put up their more inventory. So if you're looking for singles for a lot of different card games, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, DBS, Digimon, they're your hookup. You can also use the link in the description to follow there. I also have a creator code, IronJordan5, if you want to get 5% off your order with them. Now that the shilling is out of the order, let's talk about Burning Abyss. The first thing you need to know about Burning Abyss is that all of the main deck monsters share some effects. The first one is every single one of the main deck monsters say if you control a monster that is not a Burning Abyss monster, destroy this card. This is very important because face down monsters also count as not a Burning Abyss monster, even if they are a Burning Abyss monster, because the game state doesn't recognize that it's a Burning Abyss monster while it's face down. The second thing that every Burning Abyss monster has is that they have a special summon effect if you control no set spell or trap cards, and they all have an effect when they go to the graveyard. However, you can only activate each effect once per turn. So if you special summon a Skarm, you cannot get his search effect on the end phase, if that makes any sense. Every Burning Abyss list is going to look a little different. As you can see, this is mine, and we're going to go through it. I like to play a purple dot deck version. It's the most fun that I've ever had with a trap card deck. And then the extra deck might look a little bit different than what you can see. We got some obviously Burning Abyss staples, but a lot of people will play 2 Zeus. I do not play 2 Zeus simply because I do not have a second Zeus. I would find room for it if I had a second one, but I don't. But we'll go over why I play certain things as we get into it. First of all, for the Burning Abyss ratios, we play 3 Skarm Malbranch of the Burning Abyss. Firstly, going to tournaments, going to real tournaments, and writing Malbranch of the Burning Abyss on every single one of your main deck monsters is such a pain in the butt, only rivaled by playing Trains and having to write Dora's name, or playing DDDs and having to write every single DDD monster, extra deck monster's name on the sheet. Oh boy, I miss in-person events, but I do not miss having to write down your deck lists. So first of all, we play 3 Skarm because it searches for Tour Guide, and Tour Guide is the best monster in your deck, and I want to see Skarm every single turn. That's why we play 3 of it. And the deck is built to go long, so we play 3. Next, we play 3 Graph. Graph summons a Burning Abyss monster from the deck when it hits the graveyard. Excellent. Play 3 of it. 3 Farfa. Every single time that I have played fewer than 3 Farfa, I have needed 3 Farfa. Please play 3 of the YouTube man. Please do it. 2 Seer. You can honestly play 1 Seer if you want, but the reason why I play 2 is that if you're able, in the trap version, if you're able to control your opponent's board and keep it clean going into your second turn when you went first, having Seer in the deck and using it off of Cherubini is a instant OTK, and if you draw 1 copy of this card, you cannot do it. So this is why I play 2 of it. Next, we have 1 Libic. He special summons a Dark level 3 Fiend from your hand, negating its effects, which is pretty good for extension. We have Barbar, which burns for game. We have Cowcab, which can bounce a set spell or trap. We have Aelix, which can turn off an opponent's monster. Very good for turning off ignition effects specifically. And then we have 3 Tour Guide. This is essentially Tour Guide of the Burning Abyss. It might as well say Burning Abyss on the card's name because it is just a Burning Abyss card. It summons a level 3 Fiend type monster from your hand or deck and negates its effects and cannot be used for a synchro summon. We don't play any synchros anyway, so who cares about that? It only negates the effects on field, so it actually works really well with the BAs. It summons them, they prevent themselves from being destroyed because their effects are negated. But then if you use them for like a linked summon or whatever, they still get their graveyard effect because it didn't negate their effects in the grave, just on the field, which is really, really nice. Next, we have 3 Fiendish Rhino Warrior. This is probably the second best normal summon in your deck because it also protects your BAs. If you have a handful of them, you can just kind of go off. And it also sends Batjack to the grave, which is the main reason why we play this card. Speaking of Batjack, we have one of this guy. So during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a normal trap, set it to your field. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. That set card can be activated during this turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, place them on top of your deck in any order. You can only use this effect of Absolute King Batjack once per turn. This is the card that turns Beatrice into a multi-interaction card. So you activate Beatrice's effect. You send. The best thing is if you have like a Rhino Warrior or a Farfa attached to Beatrice, you detach either the Rhino Warrior or Farfa, and then you pitch the other one from your deck to the grave. The one that you didn't have equipped to her. Or underneath her as an XYZ, not equipped. This isn't Magic. What am I talking about? The Rhino Warrior sends the Batjack and the Beatrice sends the Farfa, or you could do it the other way where you detach Farfa and then send the Rhino Warrior, and then the Rhino Warrior sends the Batjack, and then you have the banish off the Farfa, and then you have a potential interaction off of the trap card that the Batjack gets you, which is really, really nice. And you should, seeing that we are playing 18 trap cards, you should, in 3 cards, find at least one of them. They are all normal trap cards. We're playing no hand traps. We're playing 3 Trap Trick, simply so that we can see it. We're playing 3 Dynamiscus. This card is insane with BAs because it pitches and you get to activate the effect. So if you have a Farfa in hand and you activate Dynamiscus, you get 2 banishes. Fiend Griefing is insane. With all these Drytrons and all these other decks running around in the format that use their graveyards, you Fiend Griefing, shuffle it back into the deck, and then send a Farfa to banish something. That's, again, why we play 3 Farfa. 3 Torrential Tribute, because this does not affect BAs in the slightest. You do not care if you blow up your board. 3 Imperm, because it is a hand trap that can be set as a trap and also can be searched off Trap Trick and can be grabbed off of Batjack. This card is just insane in this deck. And then 3 Compulse. I always have liked Compulse. If you want to make this Ice Dragon's Prisons, you can. I do not own any Ice Dragon's Prisons, and so I'm not playing them. But I like Compulse a lot, and it's put in some really good work in not only this deck, but also the Amazement deck that I've been playing as well. So yeah, this has been really fun. So that's the entire main deck. Moving on to the Etcher deck. 3 Dante. Just dodging ban lists like crazy. Dodging all the ban list bullets. This card's very good. If you don't know what it does, it mills 3. That's all you need to know. I'm kidding. So you detach a material from this card and you mill up to 3 cards. He gains 500 attack for each card milled, and then if this card attacks, you change it to defense position. It's just super good. If you send it to the graveyard at all, you target 1 Burning Abyss card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So it just does a lot. It just does a lot. Next we have Beatrice, which is still limited simply because it is a generic Foolish Burial for ranked 6s. It's not limited for anything BAs have ever done. It's limited for being Foolish Burial on a ranked 6. If this card could only be summoned by its Burning Abyss effect, by its own effect, it would be at more than 1 for sure. It requires 2 level 6 monsters, but you could also XYZ summon this card by sending 1 Burning Abyss monster from your hand to the graveyard, then using 1 Dante you control as material. Transfer its materials to this card. If summoned this way, the following effect cannot be activated this turn. Once per turn, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard. If this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Burning Abyss monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is the purple Dante that we have in the back. Next, we have the Big Daddy. Number F0 Utopic Future Dragon. It requires 3 XYZ monsters with the same rank except number monsters, and its rank is always treated as 1. You can also XYZ summon this card by using number F0 Utopic Future you control as material. Transfer its materials to this card. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, negate the activation, then if your opponent controls that monster, take control of it. It's just really good, man. It's kind of like trying to get over Dragoons. It takes a little bit more setup than Dragoon does, but it's just a really good card. And on a lot of decks like Prank Kids, on a lot of decks like, I don't know, Salamandrates, just negating the normal summon and then taking the monster so they can't use it as a linked summon is enough to turn off turns sometimes, which is really, really nice. We have the aforementioned number F0 Utopic Future, so you make 2 Dantes, you go into this, and then you slap the Utopic Future Dragon on top of it after the battle phase, most likely, which is really, really nice. 1 Phantom Knights of Breaksword. This card is just a mainstay in rank 3 decks. It pops one of your cards to pop one of your opponent's cards. One number 75 Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. I see a lot of people cutting this, but this is usually what I default to if I'm playing against a monster heavy deck with a lot of, and I have a lot of back row set up, because this just turns any monster's effect into detach two, both players draw a card, and if you have BAs underneath it, the BAs get its effect, the BAs get their effects as well, which is really, really nice. One number 49, Fortune Tune. This card actually just got reprinted in King's Court, which is really good because the secret printing, which is what I have, was getting kind of expensive. It was like $15 or $20 before the reprint. So now you can get supers for like pennies, which is really, really cool. This card just stalls. If you're really, really dead, it it can avoid destruction twice. It gains life points. It can shuffle itself back in the deck. It's just really, really good. One Nightmare Shark. This is my go-to for making Zeus in this deck. A lot of people like to go like Fortune Tune into Downer Magician, but I would prefer to actually do damage and attack directly instead of crashing into really big guys with Fortune Tune, which is not what you want to do to make Zeus. And then Zeus, obviously. Nightmare Shark is also just better here because you're only going to get the one activation on Zeus anyway if you do it this way, so you don't need the downer. One Cherubini. This is mostly a turn 2 OTK enabler from the way that I use it, but it is a generically good card. So, yeah, for sure. One Nightmare Phoenix and one Nightmare Cerberus. I've had a lot of people tell me to play Unicorn instead of Cerberus because it bounces instead of destroys. The thing is that getting two monsters on the board in this deck is so much easier than getting three, which is why I'm playing Cerberus instead of Phoenix. I'm sorry, instead of Unicorn. And then one Purple Dante. This card's pretty good. Must be fusion summoned and cannot be summoned by other ways. Cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can send one Burning Abyss card from your hand to the graveyard. Draw one card. If this card is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard, or if this card in your control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can send one random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. So we don't actually fusion summon this. We use it off Beatrice's. We make it off Beatrice's destruction effect, which gets around the must be fusion summon clause of this card. And yeah, it's just a big card that can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. That also rips the card out of your opponent's hand if it dies, which is really, really nice. So that's the entire deck. I would show you guys combos, but as this is a purple dot deck, it does not combo. The most important thing is to try to establish a Beatrice with back row on turn one. If you can do that with 2 interruptions or 3 interruptions, you probably can win the game. You can probably control your opponent's board enough to just kill them on the bat swing, which is what this deck does, and that's how it wins. Going second and making Future Dragon or making Zeus in your going second plays has made the deck way more viable as a trap card deck, because trap card decks sometimes struggle with going first, going second, where they just have to set and pass, and then your opponent has interruption for your back row on the end phase or whatever before you can actually use the trap cards. But stuff like this just makes it a little more bearable. So I hope that you enjoyed the deck profile. Like I said, I'm having a lot of fun with this. If you guys have, like I said, everybody plays BAs differently. So if you have a different way that you like to play this deck, let me know in the comments below, and we'll workshop different things. But I'm very excited to play this at locals. Been having a lot of fun with it, and I'll let you guys know how the rest of my testing goes and keep you guys updated. But other than that, that's the end of the video, so I'll see you in the next one.